What's it been like? Nearly half of, or actually more than half of those underage, among those who've crossed over into Bangladesh, what's this first year been like for them?
Well, it's been tough, and it's been tough in a number of ways because at the moment the refugees are experiencing the tail end of the monsoon. There have been days when their shelters, and they are very rudimentary shelters, mostly made out of tarpaulin and bamboo. There are times when those shelters have been battered by the wind, been battered by the rain. You can often see refugees simultaneously having to fend off both the effects of flooding and the danger of a landslide. So it's been a very tough existence for them. But having said that, aid agencies, including UNICEF, have made enormous progress in bringing some kind of food distribution system to them, sanitation to them, some kind of nutrition to them. The big problem, though, as you said, isn't so much for children who are under 14, but for adolescents, for teenagers, because teenagers have very little access to formal education. And it's that category, those teenagers, those adolescents, that this UNICEF report is concentrating on, and it's making the point that the outside world can't sit idle, and that we must make efforts to ensure that the teenagers in the camps do get a better form of education.
What should be done on that score?
Well, progress has been made. Adolescent clubs have been set up for teenagers across the camps, teaching them basic life skills and helping them to recover. Because for many refugees, it was an extremely traumatic exodus from Myanmar a year ago, and some of those teenagers need some kind of counselling. So those steps have been put in place. But the establishment of a kind of formal education structure, I think, will be the priority of UNICEF and its partners over the next year. And it's not going to be easy. It's a huge logistical exercise because we're talking about hundreds of thousands of teenagers here. But given the progress that's been made over the last year in bringing a degree of normalcy to the camps, I don't think it's impossible. And with the help of the outside world and with the cooperation of the governments of Bangladesh and possibly Myanmar, there's no reason why it can't be done. And that's one of the points that this UNICEF report makes.
Is Bangladesh's government in favor of establishing formal education for those refugee children?
It's an interesting question because yes, it is in the short term, but it argues that if the refugees pursue a curriculum, it should be the Burmese curriculum. And there is some sense in that argument because Bangladesh says that the refugees come from Burma and they should pursue a Burmese curriculum, which means that when they're being taught in the semi-formal schools that are established around the camps, they won't do Bengali, but they will do some kind of Burmese and some kind of English, not very much numeracy skills, I'm afraid, and not much science. So you can see the kind of difficulties that we're up against. It's not only the problems of the curriculum, it's also the huge logistical problems that the aid agencies are encountering and the Bangladesh government's encountering.
Alistair Lawson Tancred, many thanks for speaking with us from the Bangladeshi capital, Dhaka.